All right, we've got Colleen Mullen joining us now here on America East Women's
There
Basketball Media
she
Day.
is.
Go ahead, Maureen. You've got the connection here.
I said, here comes the grandma of the league. She's been in the league the longest. Here we go, Grams. Let's talk
Can
about
you
some
believe
league.
this?
No, I'm so excited to see you, Call. So great to
I
see. So
know,
Colleen and
Maureen.
I go way back. So she survived working for my father. God bless her. She should be Saint Colleen.
That was
But
that was that was some great memories, some great one-liners, and an
those were
amazing
the days.
experience. So yeah,
No.
it was
Well,
awesome.
so happy to see you. So excited to talk
Good to
about
see
your
you.
team. You guys are good. I know you got a lot of new faces to talk about, but you're going to keep doing your magic and just keep winning championships. That's what you do, Kyle.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. It's exciting. We got 9 new players, so a lot going on for us for sure.
So, Colleen Mullen at UAlbany, trying to get back to that conference championship game. You've been in 2 of the last 3. Not the case last year, but with some new faces. Let's start with the familiar face, Kayla Cooper. Another season in your program. What more can be said? 2-time first-team selection in the league. Where is her hunger at, her motor? Another year in your program. What now to set the expectations even higher? What to expect from another season out of Kayla Cooper at UAlbany?
I mean, finally, this is a unique experience because she actually went through the summer and went through the preseason, and it's been, a really great opportunity for her to be able to practice for the first time over the summer, having her be healthy. So she's in great shape. She's excited. I can't believe I was able to keep her here. With everything that's crazy with the transfer portal and everything. So she's a great kid. She's shown a lot of leadership. She's got a lot of excitement for this year with our new faces and really setting the tone for what we're trying to do. And we're just really excited that she's healthy and excited to kind of lead the way for us.
And obviously, just talking about those 9 new players, you return significant players, in Kayla, Lily Phillips, Meg Herter. How has that transition been with so many new faces, but still some, significant newcomers? Is it meshing? Like, how has that looked? I know you've been doing a tremendous job with that. I feel like every time we talk, it's like, oh, I have X amount of new players this year. But has that been pretty smooth in the off season?
Yeah, it's well, we've had some injuries, and I'm sure, across the league we've heard of some major injuries, but we've had some injuries, with players in and out. So that's been, you know, a, a little difficult to try to get an understanding of where everybody's at. But luckily, we've had a couple of inter squad scrimmages and a scrimmage to kind of get people a little bit more in the mix. So adding to Megan and Lily and Kayla and that kind of core coming back along with Abby Ray and Gabby Falco. So only 5 returners. We added some nice pieces, but they've certainly set the tone in terms of my expectation and what I'm looking for in terms of our defense. Just the standards that we have of how we want to do things and how we want to operate on and off the court. So that's allowed the newcomers, our 5 freshmen, our 4 transfers, to kind of have a good idea of, okay, this is what UAlbany basketball looks like. This is what our expectations are in terms of how we're going to defend, how we're going to practice, how we're going to prepare. And with 5 young freshmen like we had last year, we got 9 new players like we did last year as well. We've got some really promising young kids, really excited about some of our freshmen. Our transfers, I really think we were able to get some really talented, versatile players out of the transfer portal that have been part of a lot of success at their previous institutions, won championships. Casey Donovan at Monmouth won a championship. Jess Tomasetti at Mount St. Mary's won a championship. So these are championship caliber players. They know what it takes to be successful. And I think their experience, along with adding Bella Stewart from UNH, our all connections to UNH, and Lacey Drake from UMBC, who's coming off an ACL, who's still getting kind of back into it. But we just have a nice mix of players that have added to that core coming back.
The nature of the intra-conference transfer is fascinating to me because it's the ultimate compliment, right? If you're calling them, you're like, well, I hated playing against you. Now I want you to come play for me. What are those conversations like when you go out and get Stewart and Drake to come over from other schools in the league? I'm just curious that dialogue.
Well, this is actually the first time I've had any players transfer in league, and both went through coaching changes. So both were kind of in that limbo of getting new coaches.
Mm.
Bella had graduated from New Hampshire and was looking at some of the programs that we had for our graduate program. And she's a local kid, so being able to come home and play in front of her home crowd was really, important to her. And then, certainly with the addition to Lacey Drake, who didn't play last year, she tore ACL in her first game, just had a tremendous career at UMBC, and I had so much respect for the way that she played, in addition to Bella's work ethic, and every time we faced UNH. But when, there was that coaching change and they went in the portal, I knew that Lacey Drake was certainly somebody that we were going to go after, just in terms of how she carried herself. And they've seen me on the sidelines marching up and down. I might be short, but I'm loud. So, I certainly think that that is a compliment to our program. So, I appreciate you saying that because, for other teams to want to be a part of our program and see what we're doing, it makes me feel really proud that my staff and I are trying to do things the right way.
And just talking about like defensively, Colleen, what an amazing year you guys had last year. First in the nation in defensive points per game at 51.3, which is just incredible. Do you think it's amazing to me because you did have 9 new players last year and you still were able to accomplish that. Like looking ahead to this year with 9 more new players, like what does that learning curve look like trying to teach that high level of defense? And do you think that'll be your identity again? I mean, is that kind of what you were looking for? Obviously, you want to find kids from championship programs to be part of in the transfer portal. But is that, maybe that's one to win championships and 1A, they have to be a good defender to play for you?
Certainly. I mean, I think, you could be answering this question, Maureen, because you were also always had amazing defensive teams. And I learned from your dad just the value of, especially defense in the beginning of the year, but just you can compete with anybody when you defend. And then, of course, Vermont having the next best defense. We
That's
were
why.
very a defensive oriented league, I guess you could say. But I think my philosophy has just always been to do the things that take no talent and to be able to defend. You can compete with anybody. And having players that understand, our terminology, the way that we do things, the way that I'm teaching, certain pieces of our philosophies of our defense that's really just morphed over time. And last year we were blessed with a lot of size. I think Deja Evans was a huge piece to our defense. Any kind of mistakes that we had in rotation, she really cleaned it up. And of course, we lost her unfortunately to the transfer portal. So, but she was a big anchor to that defense. But overall, it's just that it's the mindset that we have. It's the mindset. It's the focus on defense. We practice defense a lot, and I think my commitment on the defensive end is just something that the players understand. Like you can put up a lot of points, but if you're not going to defend or at least try to, be an on-ball defender, an off-ball defender, both, but you can't be neither. So pick kind of what your identity is. And certainly, from there, it's just continue to be able to have them understand that if we defend and rebound, we're gonna have a lot of success, and we can compete with anybody.
Yeah, I think you may have been selling yourself short a little bit there. I mean, that's hard to do. We hear that word. I hear coaches now, pro, college, connected, being connected. That when you get 9 faces in the last year, 9 new faces this year, that's really impressive. How you've been able to do that these last couple of years. And you mentioned Evans with the block shots. Well, Cooper was like 9th in the league in steals. So it's not even that you're gambling and getting steals all the time. You're just playing sound, full shot clock, 30-second shot clock defense. So. Looking to do it again this year. Colleen Mullen at UAlbany joining us here on America East Women's Basketball Media Day. I'm sure the defensive end of the floor will be important in some of your non-conference games this year. Some challenges where you're going to go on the road. You're going to go to Syracuse, Wisconsin, LSU. Why those programs, as far as from a basketball standpoint, why are those particular games helpful for you come league play?
Well, I think there's a variety of strategies in terms of, when you're doing your guarantee games.
Yep.
I think for our players, it's just being able to have them be exposed to, a various level of, experience, different leagues, just to enhance their overall experience. Like, playing LSU actually wasn't on the schedule. This was a late add because we ended up getting kind of dropped late. So this was one of those things that happened pretty recently, actually. But to be able to play, a team that is picked in the top, the 14th or their top four, top, Final Four team from last year. Mullen versus Mulkey should be interesting. I'll bring maybe I'll ask her for her outfit as part of my
Little
guarantee.
blazer.
Yeah, maybe I'll have ask for the blazer after I sign the blazer. But I just think it's one of those things. I know when I was a player, I had the chance to play UConn, and it was an amazing experience just to compete and challenge yourself against some of the best athletes and players in the country. And it certainly prepares you to understand, okay, the speed and the strength of what, if you really want to become, a mid-major powerhouse and win games in the NCAA tournament, what type of level of play you have to be at. And I think being able to play Wisconsin, I know Marissa Mosley, Maureen and I both know her for many years. So going out to Wisconsin to play her and what she's done, I played against her at BU. So that's kind of a fun thing for us to go out to the Midwest. And certainly Syracuse is traditionally, we played them often, and they're very talented and very athletic. So that's going to challenge us in terms of how we handle pressure and just really good defense and size. And of course, LSU is just the experience going down there, going to Louisiana, playing in that type of environment, a sellout crowd. I think it's just going to be really exciting for the players.
It'll be fun. I played at Baylor when Mulkey was at Baylor. So I did. I lived to tell the story. At least.
You're still here.
It wasn't
You
pretty.
live to tell the story.
I think we scored like 4 points in the first half, but it was cool. It was actually really, like you said. I mean, I think that's a huge responsibility as coaches in the mid-major level to have your players experience some really cool things. We went to Magnolia Farms. That's what the players remember probably more than playing Baylor.
So cool.
So
Yeah.
it's a lot of things off the court as well. But it'll be fun.
Yeah,
we'll see where our defense is at after that game. We'll talk about our defense.
Oh, and Maureen, you had a phenomenal game against Iowa. You guys are hanging in there against Caitlin Clark in Iowa. And by the way, LSU picked 7th in the AP women's preseason poll.
7th.
Great, yeah, looking for. So, well, I knew what you meant. I knew you were trying to get around to what their preseason ranking was. We'll get you out on this, Colleen. Look, Amy Vachon was on earlier. She talked about the parity of the league, but I'm sure that's a team you're going after. Vermont, you mentioned how you're both top tier defensive teams. Like, what's it going to take this year when you look at the top of the league and even some of these other teams? What's your opinion of the league as far as the parity is concerned? Is it up there as far as best it's been in your tenure?
I mean, it's so wide open, I think, and I think certainly Maine, it brings back so many players, and of course with the loss of Smith, that's a big loss for them. But Amy's a terrific coach, and their team is certainly going to rise in her absence. I'm sure of that. And then, Vermont's lost some key players, but they returned Gilwey, who was out with an injury. They've got some nice additions. They've got some nice returners. And then, of course, Bryant added some really nice players out of the transfer portal. They've got good, solid players coming back. Binghamton's got guard. I mean, and then you just keep going down the list. And it's just, that, when it gets to league play time, it's you really throw the ball up in the air, and you got to compete, and you got to scratch and claw for every win. So, I'm really excited for the season. I think we've got some really terrific coaches. There's some new coaches in the league, so that's exciting, and that'll be a new challenge for us to scout differently. Certainly against UMBC and UNH, and that always poses a challenge when you incorporate some new fresh ideas and stuff. So, I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a different year where it's really it's gonna come down to the wire yet again.
It's gonna be great, Kyle. You guys will be
Thanks,
do your thing. We didn't even talk about your new assistants that you have. I'm so excited for your program. You've done an incredible job over the years of just sustaining success. And I think at this level, it's hard with the parity, and you just year in and year out, you have amazing staff, players that just play really hard for you. And You're always just such a great, fundamentally sound team to watch, and we're always rooting for you. So good luck this year.
Thanks, Mo. Appreciate it.
Maureen learned everything she knows from her dad and from Colleen at Army, right? And maybe more Colleen than her dad, based on some of that tone at the start of this
Colleen
interview.
was my first friend at UNH when I got the UNH job because she played at UNH. She was the only alum that would actually take my phone call, I think.
Well, I was working for her dad, but no,
True.
Mo did an
Yeah,
amazing job at UNH, and having her, at the helm of my alma mater, it was really, really, really cool. Really cool for me to have played for her dad and have her be at UNH, and then going on to have an amazing, really historic run at Holy Cross. So been really appreciated our friendship over the years, and certainly all the influence her dad and her family's had on me in my career. I certainly wouldn't be here without the McGarrity's. So, that's a special name to me, even though Big Dave thinks my last name is McMullen, McMulligan, and I kind of like that better than Mullen, so I kind of will go with that.
That was nice. That was a nice way to wrap it. We'll let you go on that. Colleen Mullen at UAlbany. Best of luck this season. Thanks for the time.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Carl.
Right.
Good job.
Excellent. That's good stuff. Going back in the archives there, the McGarity Mullen connection.